Good morning, class. This past weekend we had a school swim meet, and I know I saw several of you there, so that's good. There were a lot of people there. It was really crowded, and since we're in math class, we're going to talk about how this applies to math. So, at any point during the swim meet, we could have paused time, and we could have counted every single person that was in that building. But if we restarted time, that number would change, right? Because people are constantly coming in and out of the building. And so this is important because it changes our number. So what we do when we're trying to decide how many people there were in a building or how many people are on the planet Earth, because that's always changing as well. People are always being, born, and that number is being changed. So when we use numbers like that, we use an estimate or a rounded figure. And so here's why we do that. I'm going to give you two options, and you have to pick which one you would rather add. Okay, would you rather add 100 plus 100 or $89.99 plus $96.82? You would probably rather add 100 plus 100 because those are round numbers and they're easy to add in your head, or if you wrote it down on paper, you could just add it really quickly. As opposed to having all those numbers that you've got to regroup, and so the rounded number is better for adding quickly. Okay, we're going to look at a number line. I'm going to project a number line on the board, and the scale is from 0 to 20, and we're just going to pick some numbers. We're going to start with number 14 on a scale of 0 to 20, and if we look at the number line, let's see. Is 14 closer to 10 or 20? And if you look, you'll see that 14 is closer to 10, and that means that the number 14, when we're going to round to the nearest 10 is 10. So 14 rounds down to 10. Okay, so let's pick a different number. That's kind of confusing. Let's look at number 16. Okay, so someone else, I need to know if you think it's closer to 10 or 20. So if you look, you'll see 16 is closer to 20. Okay, so 16 rounds up to 20. That's the nearest 10 to 16. Okay, so now we're going to look at number 15. This one's a little bit trickier because 15 is right in between 10 and 20. But when we round the numbers, we always have to remember to round to the right. And so when we round to the right of the number line, we see that 15 rounds to 20. So you just have to remember that one. That one is one you have to remember, that if the number ends in 5, it's going to round to the right. Okay, we're going to keep practicing. I want to ask John to pick a number. So John picks number 4. So we're going to decide if 4 is closer to 0 or to 10. Where does it round to? And so I'm going to ask Susie what she thinks, and she's going to tell me that 4 rounds, it seems like it's closer to 0. Well, 0 is not a 10, right? But since 4 is closer to 0, 4 rounds down to 0. Okay, and then James is going to pick number 11. Okay, thank you, James. 11. Sarah, do you think 11 rounds closer to 10 or 20? Okay, good, Sarah. Sarah says that 11 rounds closer to 10. Okay, we're going to look at another number line. We're going to switch things up. And this number line has numbers 0 through 200. Okay, and they are in increments of tens. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on, all the way to 200. Okay, so we're going to pick some numbers, and they're not going to be on the number line. They're not going to be marked on the number line, but they are on there. So let's pick number 33. Okay, so in your mind, I want you to look up at the projector and see where 33 is. It's in between 30 and 40. Okay, so John, do you think 33 is closer to 30 or 40? Good, closer to 30. Okay, perfect. So that means 33 rounds down to 30. Okay, now we're going to try one more. 151. Okay, we got to round it to the nearest 10. Okay, so we look in the tens place. The tens place is a 5. Okay, so it's going to be between 150 and 160. We have to decide if 151 rounds closer to 150 or 160. 150, very good. Okay, we're going to do something really fun now. We're going to look up at the screen, and I have put up the lyrics to a song we're going to sing, and this will help us remember the rules of rounding so that we don't forget, we don't get confused. Okay, so I want everybody to stand up, put your hands by your side like a soldier, and we're going to sing a marching song, and just practice with me. It's not too difficult, so you should get it after the first time, and then we're going to do something fun. Okay, this is the song. Rounding numbers is so fun, we will do it till we're done. If a number's 0 through 4, round it down to the 100 before. If a number's 5 through 9, round it up to the number line. Okay, here comes the fun part. I'm going to say round up, and I want you to repeat after me. So I'm going to say round up, round up, round up, round up. And I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Okay, so we're all going to stand up behind our seats. I want table 1 to line up by the door. Table 2, 4, and 3. Okay, everybody's lined up, and we're going to march as we sing this song, and we're going to walk around the outskirts of the classroom. And we're going to just march, and we're going to walk right behind the person, and we're going to listen to each other, and we're all going to chant our song. Rounding numbers is so fun, we will do it till we're done. If a number's 0 through 4, round it down to the 100 before. Keep going, and we're going to keep marching, and we're going to march around the classroom, and if the weather's nice, we're going to walk out into the hallway, and we're going to sneak outside, and we're going to walk around the whole school, and we're just going to keep marching, and we're going to keep singing that song until it's just stuck in our minds, and we're going to sing it while we're asleep at night, and then we're going to get back to the classroom, and we're going to talk a little bit more and just review, and I'm just going to tell you again the problem that we used earlier. When we were trying to add 100 plus 100, I can do that in my head really quickly, or I can write that down real quick. 100 plus 100, that's 200. Okay, but 89.99 plus 96.82, I'm gonna have to write that down for sure, and I'm going to have to spend some time regrouping, and that's going to take me a few minutes. So that's why it's easier to use rounded numbers, because if you don't need to know the exact number, you can use a rounded number. 100 plus 100 is going to be close to 89.99 plus 96.82. It's going to be very close, but 100 plus 100 is easier to add in our head, or subtract, or multiply, or pretty soon divide when we get to 4th grade. Okay, so I'm thinking about rounding, and I'm thinking, okay, digits like 0, 2, 3, and 9, and 8, those are all round numbers, right? They have kind of like a curve. 8 is 2 round circles together. 0 is just 1 round circle. So they're already rounded numbers. Does rounding numbers mean that I need to change numbers 1 and 4 and 7? Those aren't rounded numbers. They're kind of pointy, and they have little points. They're not rounded. Is that what rounding numbers is? No, of course not. That's silly. Rounding numbers means rounding up or down on a number line in order to make it easier to add or subtract in our head or on paper. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, Miss Bryan, I'm never going to need to use rounding numbers. I can add really fast in my head. I don't need rounded numbers. Okay, let me give you an example of when you might need this in real life. So I'm guessing that probably at some point, either your mom or your dad or your sister or maybe your grandpa, that their car broke down and they needed to go to the shop and get it fixed. Or it's been a really hot summer. I hope that this hasn't happened, but maybe your AC stopped working and someone had to come out and fix it. Or what about if you had to have a plumber come to your house because you had to get your fix or your bathtub fixed, your sink or your bathtub. So when we have to get something fixed, we call the professional and we tell them what we think the problem is, like the drain is broken or my car's not working anymore. And the professional is going to tell you, maybe that's the plumber, maybe it's the guy that works on cars, maybe it's a lady that's going to come fix your AC, and they're going to look at the problem and they're going to tell you, okay, I know you're going to have to spend this much money on parts and it's going to take me a couple hours to fix it, so that's going to cost some money, and they're going to give you an estimate. And the estimate is just all those things, the parts, the time they have to spend working on it, rounded to a round number. So they might tell you it'll be about $200 to get this fixed. So they just kind of rounded the number, but you get to hear 200 and you think, okay, I'm going to decide if I should hire this person to do the job or if I should call my friend and see if he'll do it for $150, and then I save some money. So the actual cost may be $197.99, but you don't really need to know that. You just need to know an estimate so you can decide whether or not you want them to fix the job. Okay, so this afternoon when you go home, I want you to see if you can find examples of someone using rounded numbers, and see if you can listen carefully and hear if your parents talk about rounded numbers. And today we learned about rounding to the nearest 10, and tomorrow we're going to work with hundreds and thousands. So, have a great day!